Time once again for the practice of the Bhagavad Gita. Today is the 79th shloka that we will be doing, and it's going to be the 22nd shlok of the 14th adhyay, or the 22nd verse of the 14th chapter. Let's see what it says. What is Bhagwan saying here? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha Mohameva cha Pandava Na dveshti sampravrittani Na nivrittani kankshiti. Shri Bhagavan said, Arjun, he who abhors not illumination, which is born of sattva, and activity, which is born of rajas, and even stupor, which is born of tamas, when prevalent, nor longs for them when they are seized. And it goes on for the next few shlokas like this. So let me explain what is Bhagwan actually saying here. In the previous shlok, 21, Arjun had asked a question to Bhagwan, and I'll read the question out to you. Arjun had asked Bhagwan, what are the marks of him who has risen above the three gunas? And what is his conduct? And how, Lord, does he rise above the three gunas? How does he rise above the three gunas? Now, what does it mean to rise above the three gunas? First, we have to understand that. To rise above the three gunas simply means that you have understood what gunas are. You have understood that all actions are being propelled by the predominant guna in you at any given time. And you are not you're not a slave of your gunas. You're aware of them. You're aware that they have arisen in you, and you are able to master them. So that is what Arjun is asking. What are the marks of a person who has mastered the gunas in himself, as well as when he encounters them in others? What is his conduct? How does he behave? And what is the way to rise above the gunas? What is the way to master the gunas? All right. So the first lakshan that Bhagwan gives in this shlok, number 22, which we are doing, is that the person who has mastered the gunas does not hate any kind of behavior, does not abhor meaning to hate, does not have dvesh for anything that has arisen, because all actions arise from gunas, doesn't hate or have dvesh for any action, whether it arises from somebody's sattvic guna, rajasic guna, or tamasic guna. That is the three things he has said: illumination, stupor, activity. None of these things make him hate the other person. So how can we achieve this state where we are not affected by what the others are saying, doing, or how they are behaving? Simple. We have already talked about it many times. Do not react to the actions of others, whatever they may be, because if you are a Gunatit is what? The one who has mastered the gunas. A Gunatit knows that everyone is behaving based on their guna of that particular moment. So there's no point in reacting to that. If you are reacting, then what? You are also the slave of that guna, which is making you react, right? So what to do instead? Be the witness, of course. You know it. Just witness what is going on. Don't judge. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't have any hatred. Then that's the first lakshan of a Gunatit. Gunatit meaning the one who has mastered, understood clearly the action of gunas. Then what else does he have to do? Because this is being conscious of the gunas coming towards him. But a Gunatit will also be very conscious and very aware of the gunas that will possibly arise within himself. Because till you are in sansar, you are going to be made up of gunas. You cannot be without any gunas. If you are without any gunas, then you will not be living. So there are gunas within each one of us. That some people may have predominantly sattvic gunas, some people will have rajasic gunas, some people will have tamasic gunas. But when we say we want to be 100% sattvic, what we mean is, even if the rajas or the tamas comes up, we become aware of it and we immediately convert that into sattva. So that's the meaning. So what happens when this guna of rajas or tamas happens to arise within the Gunatit himself? At that time, he is perfectly poised, he is equanimous, he is able to witness his own gunas arising, and he is able to transfer the rajas and tamas, convert it into sattva. How? That's the sadhana. How can we do it? So, I remember when I was teaching this a couple of years ago, this same shloka, I had given the example of a lighthouse. So think of yourself as a lighthouse in the middle of a stormy sea. Okay. Stormy winds are blowing, big waves are lashing against the lighthouse, but the lighthouse does not break. The lighthouse does not fall. The lighthouse does not crash. Why? Because it is firmly established on a solid rock, right? So in the same way, we individuals need to be firmly established on our own self, so that when, even if gunas are coming from outside or gunas are rising from inside, we do not waver, we remain like a lighthouse and keep radiating light, right? The second lakshan, so in both of these, so in this also, no dvesh should be there. Sometimes what happens, we are maybe, predominantly sattvic, but sometimes some really negative thought comes in our head, right? So at that time, we are very strict, or we are very irritated or angry with ourselves also. How could I have had such a terrible thought? Remember, you did not have the terrible thought. Your mind had that thought, and you are Atma. So if you identify with that mind and identify that I thought it, then you will get bound. So if you can immediately witness that thought which arose in you and say, no, this thought is not taking me to my goal, and you immediately master that thought, you immediately subdue that thought, then you will not have dvesh for yourself also. So no dvesh for any action happening through the gunas of others, and no dvesh to yourself also for any thought or action that you yourself have thought or done. So no dvesh on the account of any guna arising in you or outside you. Then comes the second lakshan in this very verse. Bhagwan says the second lakshan of a Gunatit is he does not long for the effects of the gunas when they have ceased. So now, you know that gunas have effects, and that effect could be knowledge and joy, and it could be beauty, wisdom, some object that you have desired, could be a rajasic guna rising with you, that's an effect of rajas, or you would want to sleep and have a wonderful stupor kind of a existence, and that is also not happening, then you will crave for that. you will want that. You will want that effect of that guna. But a Gunatit will not crave that effect of any guna when it is not there. How come? Because one who has mastered the gunas has found a space within himself that is the source of happiness. He knows very well what I am and what gunas are and how the gunas are working on the body, mind, intellect. Now, having found that source of happiness, he will not be looking for objects or situations or people or vishayas outside to satisfy the body, the mind, and the intellect. Why would anyone crave to have a temporary happiness when they have found the source of permanent happiness, right? So a Gunatit is not going to want to have more knowledge, more pleasure, more objects, more beauty, more travel, more. No, he's content, santusht with whatever he has, whatever it is. If something is there, good. If it is not there, then also good. Completely content, so there is no rag for any effect of any guna. How will we attain that state? Understand where is the source of happiness within and connect there. So again, this is again that same sadhana of connect and detach. Connect to your source of happiness and detach from what? False promises of sukh, false vishayas, false promises of finding more joy, more this, more that, everything. All those things which give you temporarily more sukh are the source of more dukh. So if you just understand that, connect to the source of pure, permanent happiness and detach from the impure, temporary, sukhi vishayas which eventually give you dukh. So, two lakshans of a Gunatit in this shlok: no dvesh, no rag, for the effect of gunas. Tomorrow we'll take the next shlok for more lakshans of a Gunatit and how to achieve that state. That is the most important thing. How to achieve it. Let's chant.